2023 has to hold the record for most comic book movie bombs in a single year ever. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm giving you my ranking of all the 2023 comic book films that I've seen. I never got around to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which is a mouthful to say, but I've seen 8 of these movies, and I'm going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. But before I do, be sure to hit that like button and comment down below your ranking of the 2023 comic book films. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means a lot as I'm trying to make that final push. And go show some love to the Unusual Couple podcast for weekly episodes with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have a blast with all those weekly episodes. Alright, so kickstarting this list at number 8 is The Flash. If you would have told me this would be at the bottom of my list before this calendar year began, I would have thought you were crazy, but here we are. The more I've sat with this movie and talked about it with peers and rewatched scenes and just seen the discourse online, the less and less I like it and the less and less I think about it ever even happening. The movie has a decent enough setup. It's got this Back to the Future plotline in a way. You throw in Michael Keaton's Batman in the middle act and there are some fun premises, but the execution in the third act destroys pretty much everything I enjoyed about this movie leading up to that point. It's a self-sabotage in a way where the final act of this movie turns into this CGI mess. It gets so nonsensical that I just completely checked out, and visually speaking, the movie is ugly to look at. Throughout the entire movie, when we have 2 Ezra Millers on screen, aka 2 Barry Allens, you can tell that one of them is blatantly CGI'd and the other is actually Ezra Miller, and that distorted face just took me out of it. If you go back and rewatch the movie, you'll notice it, I promise. It's bizarre how wacky the CGI in this movie is, especially for the budget of this caliber and the fact that it's a tentpole Warner Bros. Superhero film. You would think they would have been able to make this look better. It's an eyesore. The movie itself ends on such a weak note. It doesn't really make sense, and my big complaint is this movie was supposed to change the DC universe and really make things clear as we move into the next phase under James Gunn, and it did none of that. I left this movie with more questions than answers. It's a waste of a movie, and it's a damn shame. Slightly above that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and the only reason I have this movie over is because I had a little more fun with it, specifically when it comes to Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson's chemistry. They are a believable brother duo, and you can tell the two of them had fun when they got to just do the wildest things. Apart from that, this movie provides pretty much nothing. You can tell everyone involved was like, oh, this is the end and it doesn't really matter, so why even try to progress the story any further or make a great film? You can also tell people involved, notably James Wan, the director, had little to no creative control. This is a movie that went through production hell and reshoots galore. It's unfortunate, because I do love James Wan, specifically his horror work, but this movie is clearly a product that was pushed out by Warner Bros. To try and make some money, and it's underperforming greatly at the box office as we speak. It is all over the place in terms of the plot. It's got a generic as hell main villain, and it's just copy-pasting the DCEU formula that we've seen before, and it fails yet again here. Unfortunately, the DCEU went out with a whimper, but like I said in my review, this whole franchise kind of was just one big letdown or whimper. But coming in at number 6 on my list, I've got Shazam! Fury of the Gods, a movie that, just like the other DCEU films, has regressed for me ever since I first watched it back in March now. Almost a whole calendar year since this movie came out. That's crazy. Now, I don't despise this movie, but I do think the first Shazam is much stronger. When it comes to this film, it's just forgettable. It plays it safe, and while yes, in the moment that can be entertaining and enjoyable, I don't think about this movie hardly ever, and I go back and think on that third act, it's pretty damn ridiculous. I mean, there are certain scenes that are laughably bad here. There are highlights in the film, notably Rachel Zegler and Helen Mirren. There are actors who are giving it their all, but the movie is just so forgettable. It's like you go to the theater and watch it, and as you're walking out, you already forget what happened. It's one of those type of films. It's like not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not offensively bad. It just exists, and I don't really care. And rounding out the DCEU films on this list, we've got Blue Beetle at number 5. Call it a comeback story, I guess, because I didn't really care for this movie that much when it came out, and I still don't. But when I look at all the other DCEU films that came out this year, this one stands out for one reason in particular, and that is the lead character, played by Sholomir Dueña. He plays Jaime Reyes. He is amazing in this role, and I think he's the best cast lead role in almost any DCEU film. Like, he shines in this role. He's charming and charismatic, and naturally want to root for this guy, and so he's giving it his all, despite the fact that the movie surrounding him is pretty forgettable. And I know I use that word a lot, but that's just kind of the big word to stamp over the DCEU as a whole. Yet again, this movie fails to deliver a compelling villain, and by the time there's a big reveal made, it's too little too late. The suit for Jaime Reyes, or Blue Beetle, is actually outstanding. That's another highlight for this film. So the suit and Sholo's performance performance are the clear standouts here. The rest of this movie, you've seen a million times. It's like Black Adam or Aquaman or any of these other films, just takes elements directly from them, puts them in a different movie, and tries to get away with it. It just doesn't work. Next on my list, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. A movie that when I first watched it, I was pretty high on it. I was like, oh, this is a 4 out of 5 movie. I thought about it, and it's been almost a year since I first watched it, and it's regressed for me. It's not a bad movie in my opinion. I think it's wildly overhated, but I do think the movie has its issues, undeniably. There are some visual effects issues, obviously. That's kind of a big complaint with most superhero films nowadays, but there are some standouts here. I thought that Kang was a menacing presence on screen, and they were really going to take that character in a unique direction. This was just going to be a little hint at what Kang could do, and then they were going to have some other variants come in that were going to be super powerful, but I don't really know where we stand with the whole Kang storyline as it stands right now regarding Jonathan Majors, so it looks like they're going to scrap Kang moving forward and not recast. That's the direction I think they're headed, at least, but topic for another video or another live stream. This movie has a strong sense of family and connectivity between family, but it doesn't fully delve into that as much as it could. I think what holds it back ever so slightly is Catherine Newton's performance as Cassie Lang. It was just awful. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang has so much fun, though. He's got this energy and screen presence that just rubs off on you when you're watching the film. You just feel more alive watching Paul Rudd in the role because he is perfect casting in my opinion. But the movie just feels kind of pointless in retrospect. It all takes place in the quantum realm, and while I thought that was cool at the time, it's like, man, was this movie kind of throwaway or filler? I'm almost scared to go back and rewatch this one because I think I'll enjoy it a lot less than I did in that initial watch through. We'll have to see if I'll ever even go back to this one. At number 3 on my list is The Marvels, another movie that I think is wildly overhated, far from perfect in my opinion. Yet again, it's got a throwaway villain, but the real standout here is the chemistry between the main trio of Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel. I loved seeing the formation of their team and even the exploration of their relationships. Each individual one has its own beautiful moment to shine. You've got Monica and Carol making amends for sort of their past, and how you've got Carol trying to, apologize for all the time she was gone, but you can see both sides to their relationship and how it's developed over the years. Then you've got Miss Marvel, who's a super fan of Captain Marvel. That made for some great comedic bits, but also heartwarming moments. And then you go and see them all fight together, and it just works for me. The movie's funny, and I don't think it's forced humor. It got some good laughs out of me because it embraced the silliness, especially with all the Flurkins. That one scene with all of them was just a hoot and a half, if you will. And Samuel L. Jackson's awesome here when he interacts with Kamala's family. Like, those scenes were standouts to me. So this movie had a distinct style. It embraced sort of the cheesy silliness, which I appreciated. The movie got unnecessarily bashed, in my opinion. It's not a top 10 MCU movie. It's not even a top 15 MCU movie, but it's an enjoyable time for what it is. And I do think we live in a day and age where certain MCU films like this are just going to get destroyed by people before they even come out, which is unfortunate. These next two movies are in a league of their own when compared to the rest of the films I just talked about, and it was almost a coin toss, but my runner-up is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, a movie that grows on me the more and more I think about it. It's got outstanding animation and a cliffhanger ending that will leave you wanting so much more. I can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse whenever we do get it. Both the score and the soundtrack are elite and guide us through the film. Like the music in the first film and in this film both act as characters, and that's become like a distinctive trait of the Spider-Verse films. Miguel O'Hara is sort of this anti-hero villain that develops over the course of the movie. You've got the return of Peter B. Parker, of course, but Gwen has a really great story here. She's one of my favorite protagonists of the year so far. And of course, Miles has so much on his shoulders and he's on the run. That whole chase scene is brilliantly animated and one of the most riveting sequences of the entire year in terms of movie scenes. All around, Across the Spider-Verse ups the scale and the stakes of Into the Spider-Verse. I think the first film's a little more strong narratively speaking, and this one does feel a little incomplete at times, just ever so slightly, but I know there's a part 2 coming. Everyone's arc in this film pretty much comes full circle, and I can't wait to see the continuation of it in Beyond the Spider-Verse. But taking the top spot for me, my favorite comic book film of 2023 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the MCU damn near at its best when it comes to character work. James Gunn's vision was seen fully through here as he got to give everyone a beautiful send-off in the Guardians family. The movie made me cry multiple times. Even when I think about certain scenes, I'm like, man, that's heavy, Doc. And other scenes make me laugh out loud. This is a beautiful send-off to the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a space adventure. It's got heart. It will make you laugh. Like I said, it'll make you cry. It is a beautiful ending, and the soundtrack might be the best of the 3 Guardians films. You've got the No Sleep Till Brooklyn one-take action scene, which is like a final hoorah for the Guardians, and then Dog Days Are Over plays in this bittersweet, feel-good ending. This is a conclusion done right, and it closed out a chapter of the MCU that I'll always hold near and dear to my heart with the Guardians. But that's just my ranking of the 2023 comic book films that I've seen. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. And go show some love to the Unusual Couple podcast for weekly episodes with myself and my girlfriend Kane. We have a ton of fun with it. But that's going to do it. Thank you guys as always for watching, and stay tuned for many end of the year videos coming soon. But until then, see you guys later.